Number 5. Welcome to Unit 5 in our writing course. We're getting close to the halfway mark, and that is when a lot of students start to get a bit tired. The initial excitement of a course has started to wear off, if it didn't completely wear off in week 1, and you start to notice that the teacher is telling the same jokes week in, week out. But anyway, stick in there and we'll get through this course together. On the other hand, if you are enjoying the course, and especially these flipped classrooms, that's great. Of course, you're welcome to click the thumbs up icon below if you found the lesson easy to understand and enjoyed it. Today, we're going to look at popular trends and some applications which can be downloaded to your smartphone. Now, there are millions of apps out there to choose from, so this is kind of hard to talk about. This is especially difficult because popular trends in technology change so quickly that as soon as you have finished talking about the apps, it seems that newer and better ones have appeared. Anyway, let's give it a go. Rather than introducing a bunch of apps to you, I'd like to show you a couple of cool sites. The first one is an Australian music program, and the other is an Australian radio station which you can listen to just about anywhere. Just for a change, we're not going to use YouTube but Google today. Of course, you can use Yahoo or whatever search engine you use. I use Google. Next, search Rage Australia TV, and it should be the top choice. Open the page and you should see something like this. The colourful Rage logo is very distinctive and in fact hasn't changed for decades. There is plenty for you to see on this page, so spend some time looking around. The second site I'd like to share with you is similar to Rage but on the radio. Again, use your search engine and enter JJJ Radio Australia. Whoops, I should have used a capital A with Australia there. Again, Triple J should be the top page. When you open it, you should see the Triple J logo at the top left of the page. Here, you can listen to live music and radio programs. It is a very cool radio station. Also, Triple J has an app you can download to your phone. If you want to be one of the cool kids, make sure you download it. Of course, it's free. So we are going to discuss some trends and some apps in this week's reading. To do this, we still want to follow the basic structure of having an introduction, body, and conclusion. This same structure should also be used in each paragraph. In the body part of each section in this reading, we'll see a lot of vocabulary which tries to persuade the reader to download the app. Persuasive speech is really important, not only when we want to sell a product, but when we want people to listen to and respect our opinion. I hope you'll feel a little more comfortable using persuasive speech after this class. Let's have a look at the text. Well, we start with an introduction. You may notice that the way of writing used in this passage is fairly casual. Of course, that's okay. We can see this especially when we look at the first sentence and see that it is a question. In a speech or presentation, it is okay to use a question at the beginning. However, in writing, especially academic writing, I really encourage you to avoid using a question at the beginning of a paragraph. You can always change a question into a statement. Here, for example, traveling soon could be changed to, it has become cheaper to travel abroad in recent years, or something like that. At the end of the introduction, you want to have a sentence that super briefly summarizes what the whole passage is about. The reader should be able to just read this sentence or two and basically know what he or she is about to read. This sentence is often called a thesis statement. In this week's writing, I will be checking to see if you use a thesis statement at the end of your introduction. The first app the author is introducing is called Talk to Me. This is easy to see because there is a subtitle. Next, the reader can clearly understand what the app does because there is an explanation at the beginning of the text. Finally, in the middle of the paragraph, where the writer is giving a more detailed explanation, we can see a lot of persuasive language being used. The vocabulary you use here can make a big difference to whether the reader will be interested in the app or whatever you are introducing. It isn't a great concluding sentence, but giving a little further information like the writer does here isn't a bad way to complete your paragraph. Notice, like I have talked about with the use of Japanese words in earlier classes, that the French word au revoir, meaning goodbye, has been put into italics. You should always do this with words from other languages, unless they are place names or people's names. In the second app, hopefully we will see a similar structure to the first one. Once again, the name of the app, TripIt, has been used as a clear subtitle. That is a great start. Once again, the writer has used a question to start the paragraph, which, as I said, is okay for casual writing, but just be careful when you are writing an academic paper. Next, we see just a couple of words used to help make the app more attractive for people who may be interested in purchasing it. Easy to use is an excellent adjective, which would be good for you to remember and use sometime. Finally, we have the app City Seeker. I imagine by now you would have noticed a common pattern occurring with these passages. First, we have the subtitle. Then, we have an introduction explaining what the app does. This takes a while in this passage, and the writer uses a pretty creative way of explaining the app. We also see throughout the paragraph a couple of places such as an exclamation mark and "what you need is" phrase in an attempt to persuade the reader to download the app. However, once again, we are missing a conclusion. Obviously, this writer hasn't taken my class. We want the reader to feel the passage is complete. But without a conclusion, it is like eating a custard pudding without the caramel sauce to put on top. It looks and tastes okay, but something just isn't right. So make sure you don't make the same mistake and complete your compositions with some nice caramel sauce. Here is your homework for this week. Wow, is that all? I should have given you some more. Make sure you hand it in before the due date and time. Finally, here is your writing topic for this chapter. I would like you to think of 3 applications that are popular for university students and introduce those apps to me. Of course, I expect to see a good introduction with a thesis statement, and within each explanation of the apps, introduce the app, discuss the good points, and make sure you use persuasive language. Use your dictionary to help you. This is an opportunity for you to get creative with your composition and show me what you can do. I'll see you in class.